Well, thanks everybody again for joining me. I really do appreciate that. My name is John Smith, for real. So if you don't believe me, I have the driver's license to prove it. And I've had to show that to pizza places quite a few times because they don't really believe that that's who's ordering pizza. But it's true. I am the iPod teacher on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter and you want to give me a shout out, great. If not, I will not be offended because my wife doesn't follow me either. So it's okay if you don't. All right. But I am also John Smith at bookcreator.com. So if you do have any questions after today, or you need more ideas or follow up or whatever, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm always happy to chat about Book Creator and how we can make your teachers and students successful in using it. Taught special ed for 12 years, mostly 5th and 6th grade. I was a tech integration specialist for 7 years, mostly at a high school. And after 19 years of teaching, I have spent the last 5 years here at Book Creator as their senior teacher success manager. So lots of webinars, lots of trainings, conferences, keynotes, whatever I can do to make everybody successful. That's really my job. I'm married. I've got 3 kids, 12, 9, and 5. I love golf, so I don't know if there's any golfers out there or not, but if you are a golfer, awesome. If not, then you're just like everybody else in the last 20 webinars. Nobody golfs, it's okay. But I love golf, but this one usually gets hands raised. Does anybody have a dirty car? If you're honest. All right, I see some head nods. Nobody wants to raise their hands, but I see some head nods. It's okay, you can admit it. But the reason I ask this is because on the side, I'm actually a certified auto detailer. So if you have a dirty ride and you're anywhere near Ohio, which is where I'm from, then I'll be more than happy to wash that ride for you. All right, awesome. So today we are going to talk about Book Creator, and I want to start off by asking a couple of questions. Does anybody have or know of students who lack motivation? Right. I think that's probably a loaded question, right? The answer is yeah, probably all of us, right? And some of ourselves, we lack motivation sometimes too, right? Especially on Fridays. All right. Well, how about the second question? Would you like to see some amazing things that students can create that are actually going to change that, right? And get them excited about being in class? And I'm actually going to pose another question too that I didn't put down into my book. But would you be excited, right, if your students continued to make things, continued to make books months after the assignment was over because they were so excited about this idea of bookmaking that they just couldn't stop, right? And if you're answering yes to any or all of those questions, then you're in the right place, all right? And if you're not answering yes to any of those questions, you might need to grab a coffee, right? All right, so anyway, this is important stuff. And so real quick, I'm going to show you a couple of examples, all right? Before we get into Book Creator, I want to show you a couple examples. This is one of my favorites, all right? This is Little Emma, all right? And this is by Kiara. This book has actually been read 20,000 times, which is remarkable, right? For a young child to think of, right? My book has been read 20,000 times. It's not just on my refrigerator. It's not just being read by mom and grandma. 20,000 times. All right, so we're going to go ahead and read this book. So here's the cover, and I'm going to click the play button here. Hopefully you can hear this. All right, hopefully, did anybody hear that? Thumbs up if you heard that. No? Oh, bummer. Okay, well, it said Little Emma by Kiara, right? So her voice is actually in this book. And what I love about Book Creator too, and this is going to sound a little counterintuitive, but when teachers are burned out from tech and when kids are burned out from tech, guess what? They can draw pictures. They can take pictures of those pictures and put them straight into a book and then add other things on top of them, right? Which is very powerful. So she made this book, all right? Very young kindergarten kid made this book. And I mentioned earlier that Book Creator was self-differentiating. So you're thinking, wait, she's a kindergarten kid. How did she write all of that, right? Well, guess what? She used her face. All right, we have a speech to text button, which I'm going to show you here in a little bit too. All right, so very cool stuff there. And we've got loads of other things from various grade levels, which I'm going to show you here in a minute too. We've also seen some teachers do some really amazing things, right? Maybe the textbook isn't so great, or maybe it's just outdated, or maybe we don't have a textbook, right? And so teachers are creating amazing content in Book Creator to help engage their students in stuff that they wouldn't normally be engaged in. Right. So again, this is very, very powerful stuff. All right. So enough of the yak, right? Let's show you some of this stuff. Now, before I show you, I'm going to keep teasing you here for just a second. Before I do show you that, when you create your Book Creator account, if you haven't done so, all right, you're going to go to app.bookcreator.com or Clever. I can't remember, Sarah. I can't remember if you guys use Clever or not.
Okay, so for those of us without students, we are going to go straight to the website. Just make sure that you guys are on the teacher page. I know those that were originally on the PLD login. I sent this link directly out, and I can send this out to the group again later. I can actually, let me drop it in the chat.
Perfect. So yeah, this is the login. If you've never been to Book Creator, it's app.bookcreator.com. You're going to click the little blue button that says switch to teacher, and then you're just going to sign in. All right. And when you do that, you're just going to answer a few questions, jump through the hoops. But more importantly is that once you've gotten in there and you've created your account, at the top left, you're going to click these 3 black lines, and it takes you to the teacher dashboard. It's where all your books and libraries are going to live. All of your teachers have 1,000 books each and unlimited libraries. So they can make a library for every class. They can make a library for small groups. They could make a library for every student if they really wanted to and use it like a digital portfolio. So loads of options here. Across the top is our Discover section. Tons of example books here. Books by grade level. We have books down here written by our ambassadors on everything from differentiation to digital citizenship, social emotional learning, science notebooks, math, reading response logs, you name it, we have a book for it down here. Amazing, written by our ambassadors. And then underneath that, we have books by subject. And this is my favorite area because when you hear the words book creator, that's when the English and language arts teachers are like, yes. And that's when everybody else kind of looks around the room and they're like, wait, we don't do books, do we? Do we do books? And the answer is, yeah, anybody can make books, and they should be, right? And so there are tons of examples here. The webinar I actually just got off of had a music teacher in there, and we were talking about how you could use Book Creator in music class. And so he already uses Book Creator to create their performance logs and journaling so that the students are reflecting on their own musical performances. So anything you can think of, you can use Book Creator for it. And if you think, and I'm just going to throw out a challenge. Sarah doesn't know I'm about to say this, but I'm going to throw out a challenge. If you think that you can stump me and come up with a way that you cannot use Book Creator, I'll prove you wrong. All right, so there we go. So that's just the way I'll operate. Everybody in your school district can use this, every single person, and I can prove it. All right, so anyway, moving on. The next tab is very important because in the next 22 minutes, you're going to be overwhelmed with all the cool stuff that Book Creator can do. The certification tab is awesome after you scroll past my really bad haircut. All right, so scroll past my really bad haircut. Over here on the left-hand side, you will see 18 videos that will take you on a deep dive into all of Book Creator's features. You can watch them as many times as you want. You can watch them whatever order you want. And when you're done, pass the quiz and you become a Book Creator certified author. All right, you get a cool badge, you get a certificate of completion, but more importantly, you have that deep, deep understanding of Book Creator. All right, so I highly encourage you to take this. I saw Sarah nod her head. I know she's taking it, and it's great. All right, not just because I'm in it, just because it's great. All right, there's a lot of great content. Now, I'm going to throw out another challenge. All right, I love challenges. There's a school district that I shall not mention. All right, but Kansas City Public Schools had 300 teachers complete the certification in the first month that it went live 2 years ago. We've revamped the certification, and for whatever reason, they are still at the top of the leaderboard. And I'll be honest, I'm sick and tired of seeing them there. You know why? Because they're not my school. You are my school district, and I want one of my schools to be at the top of that leaderboard. And I know for a fact that you have more than 300 teachers in your district. We should be able to get this done by lunch. All right, so let's get this done. Let's get this certified. Let's tell all of our friends and colleagues, send out a mass email, whatever you need to do. Let's get this done so that we can be #1 on that list. All right, and if you are, I'll bring a trophy down to you. All right, I'll drive a trophy down because I like to drive. All right, next, let's get back into our actual library here. So we've created this library. We have to get our kids into our library. And the way we do that is by clicking this button at the top that says invite code. All right, and a code pops up. So every library that you create has its own code. and you give that to your kids, whether it's on the board, in an email, Google Classroom, whatever you use, you're just going to give that code to the kids. And then when they go in through their sign-in process, they're going to click on it and they're going to enter the code, and now they're part of your library. All right. And guess what? When they're in the library, they can do a couple of different things. They can read any of the books that are already in there. All right. So maybe you created a book about the frog lesson, right? You could have that in there and the kids could read it. And they won't be able to mess with it. They'll just be able to flip through the pages. The second thing that they can do is click the button that says new book. All right. And now what they can do is they can actually choose a plain book here at the top. We've got some comic books down here at the bottom. And for those of you that work with older students, we also have templates, because I do think that when people look at Book Creator and they're like, wow, this is like super easy to use and it's super fun looking, like that's a bad thing, right? That's cool, even at the high school level. But when you look at these templates, you can really see the power in the simplicity of Book Creator, because you can make something that looks like this, right? And that's a really good looking magazine. All right. And so we've got all these really awesome page designs, and everything on here can be edited. But again, it gives kids a great way to look at Book Creator and think about things a little bit differently. Now, we also have a new button that allows you to import a PDF. All right. So I have some younger graded PDFs, but I think you'll get the point here. So not only can you pull in PDFs, but what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to take a PDF, whether it's 1 page, 5 pages, 100 pages, and turn it into a book. And so now, guess what? There's the PDF. So if it was 10 pages, I now have a 10-page PDF or a 10-page book, right, using those PDFs. And I can click the plus button and add all the Book Creator goodies right on top. But I can also click that PDF and I can even edit the PDF. All right, so if I want to erase certain parts of the PDF, right, maybe I don't need this question at the very end. Now I can bring in some of those old PDFs that I have and bring new life into them. All right, so very, very powerful. All right, and we're going to get into some of those other features here in just a second. I'm seeing the chat window go real crazy here. I just want to make sure I'm not missing something. Okay, cool. All right. Sarah, if I miss something, just yell at me and stop me.
You're doing great. I will.
Awesome. Now, I'm going to create a new book. All right, and we're going to talk about all the good stuff in Book Creator. Now, before we jumped on, we had mentioned that, you know, teachers are treading water, right? They're just barely above water right now, and they're tired, and we're already kind of for summer already. Well, Book Creator is easy. All right, I've said it. I'll keep saying it. And the reason Book Creator is easy is because there are 2 buttons that you need to know about, and that's it. All right, the plus button at the top allows you to add stuff to a book. The I button right next to it, or the inspector, allows you to change things like colors, sizes, fonts. So plus button, what can we add to a book? You can add media, you can add comics, you can add shapes, and more. All right, and again, we won't be able to go through all of these, so I'm just going to pick out some of my favorites. All right, I'm going to start with shapes. Here we've got some pretty standard shapes. When you click on it, adds a shape to the page. Now it looks like maybe I can make a house, a car, Mickey Mouse, something like that. But some of the shapes allow you to type inside of them. And so now it's a fancy text box. It's a timeline. It's a graphic organizer, a story map, right? Or storyboard. There's a lot of different things you can do with this. It's a label, right? Maybe I have a volcano and I want to label the different parts of a volcano. All right, very cool. But in that shapes tool, there's also a search bar, which allows me to search for just about anything. All right, so tonight we're going to go to a basketball game. So I type in basketball, and guess what? All of these amazing icons pop up related to basketball. And I click the one that I like, and it adds it to the book. And so now you can really enhance your stories, make them look a little more beautiful. But these are also great for vocabulary, language acquisition. If I've got kids that don't speak English, right? This is very, very powerful. And there are 2 to 3 million icons inside that search bar. And I have yet to search for something that doesn't get a result. And I've looked for some really wacky stuff like photosynthesis and mitosis. And somebody actually yesterday said, ooh, type in emotional health. And I actually started sweating because I was like, ooh, I don't know. And stuff came up, right? So really powerful. Plus button, media. Now this is where the bulk of the good stuff exists in Book Creator. First off, we have an image search. Again, what's nice about this, especially for younger kids, is that it is built right in. So when my kids search for things, they don't have to go out to the web. They don't have to go anywhere else. It's all right here. Pixabay, free to use, free to modify, and safe. So these are the safest, most copyright-free images that Pixabay has. The kids click on it and they click add. And now that image gets added right there inside the book. And what you'll notice is that these images are beautiful. These are gorgeous images. These are not the grainy thumbnails that your kids like to drag into presentations that look like garbage. These are really nice images. You can resize them, you can move them around. And for the sake of time, I'm not going to talk about the accessibility features, but there are some options for adding other things to the images. Great question, Melissa. Is there a filter? So the filter that we have here for age appropriateness is that all of these are the safest images that Pixabay allows. They're all free to use and free to modify. Those are the filters. All right. So they're appropriate for everybody. There are no age-specific filters that we have at this time. Something I could pass along to the engineering team. All right. Next, plus button. Camera. Love the camera. We've got a camera here. You can take a still picture or you can record video. What I love about the video is this. Hey, Mr. Smith, in class, you talked about angles, and I could care less until I got home and realized there's a 90-degree angle right there. All right. And so your kids can take whatever it is that they learned in school and they can find it in the real world and they can document that process. They can explain how they solve math problems. They can interview people. They can go out and, take videos of different types of landforms and plants for science class, whatever. There's a lot that you can do with that video. And it takes a couple seconds for it to load. But once that video is there, you can even add captions to that videos, to your videos, and you can even add captions in 120 different languages. All right, now my internet apparently wants to fight with me today, so I'm going to go to the next page while that's loading, and we're going to keep moving on. Plus button, pen tool. All right, now this is my favorite. Now there's about 30 of you on this call, and I can't see all of you, so please, if you are not in a seat right now, please sit down, because this is a mic drop moment and I don't want anybody passing out and falling over something. Okay? All right. All right. I'm trusting that we're all sitting. All right. And I think it was Natalie. I saw Natalie's face. She's like, dude, it's a pen tool. Like, how exciting can this possibly be? Nobody's going to be passing out from a pen tool. All right. Well, check this out. Ready? Click the black dot. We've got all these really cool colors. Down here at the bottom, we have magic ink. Guarantee your kids are going to go down here to the magic ink every single time. Why? Because it's magic. All right, that's why. Next, brush. I've got a marker, brush, crayon, highlighter, pretty standard pens that do pretty standard pen type things. All right, which is very cool. Like I can circle things on a map. I can underline text. I can highlight things. I could draw a mustache on a famous painting, right? Really cool stuff there. But my favorite pen of all is this one right here, and that's the auto pen, because it is an excuse killer. All right. You work with kids above 5th grade and you ask them to draw, they're going to say things like, I can't draw. I'm not creative. I hate the trackpad. Go away. Right. And I see some head nods. You know what I'm talking about. I teach a graduate class to teachers. You know what they say when I ask them to draw? The same thing. They don't want to do it either. Right. They're just like the kids. All right. Well, check this out. I'm a lousy artist. All right. So I'm going to draw for you a bike. Now, this is hideous. Right? Nobody would want to ride this bike, all right, at all. But at the top of the screen, the auto draw is trying to figure out what it is. Is it a basketball? I sure hope not. Is it a pair of glasses? Only if you got hit in the face with a basketball, right? What is it? Ooh, here it is. There's some bikes. There's some bikes over here. So I click the bike I want, and it fixes my drawing, and it makes it look like a bike. And then I can click my X, I can go to my cool colors, my magic ink, maybe go to my fill bucket, and now I can fill in my magical bike that looks like a Book Creator logo on wheels. All right, so super cool. I can move it around, I can resize it, I can make it pop wheelies if you want to pop wheelies. All right, so I said that during a webinar the other day, and somebody's like, you're showing your age, John, nobody pops wheelies anymore. Well, you know what? I'm 45, and I still pop wheelies, so deal with it. All right, so there we go. Love the auto draw. Plus button, media, text. It's a book. We're probably going to want to put some text in there at some point, right? So we click on the text style that we want. A text box pops up. I can manually type in there if I want to. I can copy text from somewhere else and paste it in there if I want to. But my favorite button is this one right here because of a student. His name was Michael. All right, Michael Eddy. Hated writing until he found Book Creator. And then he was so excited about it. But he said to me, he's like, Mr. Smith, he's like, you know what? I still can't spell. I still can't type. I still don't know where the keys are. What am I supposed to do? And I said, Michael, it's okay because neither do your teachers. I've seen their emails. They can't spell, they can't type, and they don't know where the keys are either because it looks they type like this. And he started laughing. I said, but guess what, Michael? We've got this microphone right here, which means you can write with your face. And he was like, what? And that changed everything. All right, and so here's how it works. Click the microphone and choose your language from the drop-down. Start speaking in that language. So whatever language you want to speak, you choose it from the drop-down. You start speaking in Spanish. All the Spanish text and accent marks show up. All right, really cool. All right, and the other thing I like about this is it just understands me, right? It gets me. Siri, when I talk to her, she thinks I have a mouthful of marshmallows. When I talk to Book Creator, it just gets it. It's right there on the page, right? Can't argue with it. I click the inspector. I can drag it and change the size of the fonts. I can change the colors, whatever font I want, backgrounds, columns, you name it. And so you can have a lot of fun with that. Plus button, record. So now you can actually record your own voice and put that into a book, which is very powerful, great for reading fluency, great for music in the background, great for sound effects, right? Maybe we want to add some Foley artist type sound effects to our books. And when we talk about the creaky door, we actually have a creaky door noise, right, that goes on with it. So that's really cool. And then down at the bottom, we have comics. So you choose a panel, you choose a panel style, and then you can add your photos right inside there from your images, camera, files, or drive. We'll just go to the camera, click that, use it, and guess what? That image goes right inside that comic panel. It fits perfectly. And then I can use these for storyboarding, sequencing, step-by-step directions. If I add speech bubbles, now we're talking dialogue. If I add thought bubbles, now we're talking about internal thought processes, aha moments, that kind of stuff. And of course, we'd have some fun stuff too, just like some cool stickers, right, that we can add. And it's really starting to look like a comic book. All right. We also have some cool page backgrounds that you can put in there. So if I click on a blank page and put the inspector, I can add some cool comic backgrounds. We have colors, borders, patterns, textures, and my favorite is paper. So we have graph paper, small graph paper that's so tiny nobody's going to use it. We've got line paper, college ruled, kindergarten paper, the dot game you play when you're bored at PD, the dot game you play when it's an all-day PD, and music paper. I see some of you giggling. You're playing it right now, aren't you? Charmaine and your partner, I see you're playing it right now. All right, anyway, I love the different paper styles. All right. Now, a couple other things real quick. We do have a commenting button. So down here at the bottom, if you want to give comments to your kids' work, you can do that. All right, we have the button here. Just click add comment. You can type your comment in there and post it. Kids see the comment. Now they can give it a little emoji reaction and say, yep, got it, understand what I need to fix. But in true Book Creator fashion, that's not enough. Because not only can you add comments as text, you can add them as videos, emojis, audio, Giphies, animated emojis, and stickers, right? Which is really cool because nothing says fix your work better than a smiling poo over on the side of the page. All right, your kids will fix the whole page. You don't even have to tell them what to do. All right, so anyway, I love this option, especially for younger kids, because if my kids can't read, then I just put a video in and I say, here's what you need to fix, right? Which is really cool. And they can go back and watch it over and over again, which is awesome. And as teachers, it saves you time because now I can put in audio feedback and I don't have to type everything. I can just speak it, and that helps speed things up for me. So I love it. Anyway, and then when you go in your library, you actually get notifications here to let you know when people are making comments, all right, which is very powerful. Now, there's a few other things in here that Book Creator can do. We're running out of time. I want to make sure I answer any questions because I got about 4 minutes before I have to get out and go to another webinar. But I want to share one more thing with you, and that is quite possibly, in my opinion, the most powerful button of all in Book Creator, and that is the share button. So when I click share, I can click publish. And now I can publish that work, all right? I give it a title, I give it an author, and a description. Why would I do this? Because my kids absolutely hated writing. And you know what I told him I was going to do? I said I was going to take your garbage writing and I was going to publish it online for the entire world to see. And he kind of looked at me like, what? Why would you do that? And so, because I want the whole world to see how bad your stuff is. And the kids are like, if we're going to write for the world, we're going to make it good. Oh. And guess what? As soon as I said that, engagement went up, quality of work went up. They showed up at school. They loved writing because somebody other than me was able to view their work. So I publish it online. I make it private so only parents can see it or whoever has the link. I make it non-remixable because I don't want people to make a copy of it. Whatever. You choose the settings and you hit publish. That book's online. I can take that link. I can send it off to parents, whoever I want. And guess what? I get analytics. And I'm telling you right now, there is nothing more engaging to those kids who did not want to read or write in the first place than telling them that their book has been read 95 times in 17 different countries. You will see your students change right before your very eyes. I promise. All right. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see everybody's faces. Is anybody excited? Does anybody just want me to leave? A couple of you. It's okay. All right. Any questions, thoughts, aha moments? I know that was a lot in a very short amount of time, but you have people who can help you. You have me who you can email. You have the certification course that you can watch over and over and over again. And then I'm telling you, your kids, they'll figure this out in 5 minutes flat. No problem.
The only question that I had might be more for Sarah, and just double checking appropriate, internet use. Like if we're publishing online, just making sure that we stick to whatever the district protocol is for that. And I don't know if you've already talked to Mr. Ingram, but as a former social studies teacher, this would have been so fabulous because my babies were making books by hand to do things. So I know Miss Arnett, I see you over there. She knows it. I mean, wow, so cool to be able to see it. So I just wanted to say that I thought it was really amazing, but then also ask that question to Sarah.
Yeah. So anytime, it's kind of with us being in Florida, anytime you're using any digital tool with students, parents need to be aware. So however you normally communicate with parents, whether it's Remind, a classroom newsletter, however you're doing it, you let them know that you're using it. When it comes to publishing, you're going to want to get specific permission from parents. But the good thing is you can publish this stuff anonymously. So you can take out anything that would identify the student and still have it published. So you can set it the way you need to set it per the parents' instructions and feelings.
All right.
I have a question as well. Is there a limit to the number of collaborators on one book at a time?
That's a great question. I was not aware of that. Okay. And so I was doing a webinar one night. I had 745 teachers from a school district on a webinar on a Friday night. All right. And these teachers were doing this, and we had a collaborative book with 745 teachers in it. And the book creator people were like, whoa, pump the brakes, because we don't even know if that's possible. Right. Because nobody's ever done that. And so they were like, 100 to 200 is probably safe, right? But there's no limit. So, I mean, you can have as many people as you want, but maybe just not all in the book at the exact same time. but there's no limit. And kind of following up with that too, page numbers, right? How many pages can a book be? Short answer is there is no limit. Longer answer is I think it's like 6,000 pages. I don't think you're going to have to worry about that. I did have one class book that I saw that was over 900 pages. But other than that, I think we're okay.
Thank you so much. It's amazing.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. I have to leave. I'm sure you have more questions. Like I said, your team's here. They're going to help you. Natalie, I saw you put your hand up. I'll get yours. Go ahead.
Real quick, you shared some collaborative ways to use Book Creator, one of which you said you could do a digital portfolio for each student. Is there a document someplace that kind of throws out those ideas?
No, unfortunately not. That's just my brain.
Okay.
And so the thing we have, it's interesting with digital portfolios because we have a lot of people that talk about it, but nobody that shares it with us because they're personal, right? And so they're like, well, I can't share Natalie's journal and her portfolio with you because it's real personal. And so I understand. So it's really just this idea. I have done it personally with my own graduate classes, so I know that it works that way. But I mean, if it's something you want to talk about, I'll be more than happy to chat with you another time on this. And we can go into a little more detail about like what that might look like or something like that. I'm happy.
Okay. Just all of the ideas you shared, I was like, oh yeah, oh. So I was wondering if that was captured somewhere.
Most of them are captured in the certification course.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And you get the benefit of Catherine, who's our other teacher success manager. You get her ideas in there as well. So
Okay.
definitely good.
Thank you, John. Thanks.
You're welcome. All right. Thanks, everybody. I have to head out here, but it was great seeing all of you and a lot of little avatars, which is awesome. So have a great day. And Sherry, I'll see you on Monday.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye, everybody.
All right, so, I will ask Kelly Camp to verify integration with Canvas. I don't want to speak to that without verifying with her first. We're going to go ahead and make a talent ed section so teachers can get credit for the certification videos. Also, too, the 4 sessions that John did with us are recorded and viewable for you in that Google Classroom that I shared out with you. If anybody does not still have that invitation to join to watch those 4 videos, please reach out to one of us, either myself or Diane or Lori Weedo. We would be happy to get you guys hooked up with those to be able to watch those recordings. Yeah, I think the main thing is right now we have premium licenses through the end of this calendar year, through the end of December 2023. This is one of those few tools where, even though we have all this going on with ESSER funds having to be reallocated because we're losing some of that, this is definitely something that we, based on teacher feedback, are wanting to try and get funded so that teachers have this accessible past the end of this calendar year. And that's going to be a real challenge. I think anybody that's ever gotten anything funded knows the hurdles towards that. But we're really seeing the value, especially because, like John said, we're seeing actual use cases where it doesn't matter. Subject area, everybody could use this. It's not just a one department, it's useful for one department. So we're definitely interested in getting more teachers and students familiar with this tool. You guys could use it for a lot of different things in PDs and stuff. And like, Cherie asked us to do these sessions with her on Monday. Anyone else that is interested in doing anything like that, please let us know. We're very flexible with time of day, day of the week or whatever. So whatever you guys need for your teachers, we're here to provide. All right, if anyone has any other questions, otherwise it is 9:32 and so we're 2 minutes over. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it.